Today we're at the NRA Annual Meeting 2026, and we're on the Voices of the Second Amendment Row, brought to you by Beretta Holding. And I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Mike Harris. Mike Harris is hailing from the Bay State of Massachusetts. Michael, you're with the Gun Owners Action League, GOAL. Let's talk about what you do.
So,
welcome here.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, John. It's always fun to talk to you, my friend.
So, let's talk about GOAL.
Yeah. So I am the Director of Public Policy for the Gun Owners Action League up in Massachusetts. We are the largest and oldest Second Amendment advocacy group in Massachusetts, in the Bay State, and I think possibly in New England itself. We are the local NRA affiliate. We also do a lot of work with Second Amendment Foundation, CCRKBA, and we have about 25,000 members at the moment. We've been around since 1974. Actually, it's funny. So the GOAL was founded on November 27th, 1974. I was born on November 27th, 1984. So GOAL is exactly 10 years older than I am.
That's pretty wild. That's funny. So you've got a lot of stuff going on up there in the Bay State.
Yes.
Let's try to look at the good over the bad and the ugly. That's what I want to focus on, because you guys are doing a lot of work. You're trying to punch above your weight, right? You got Herculean efforts. So let's talk about some of those things.
So I mean, in Massachusetts, as everybody knows, we have a Democratic governor, and we have hyper majorities, I like to call them, in both the House and the Senate. Out of 160 House members, we have 25 Republicans. I think when the omnibus bill was passed, I think we only had 36 votes against it. We can talk about that in a minute. And then in the Senate, out of 40 senators, we have only 5 Republicans. So it is an uphill battle all the time. So 2 years ago, we had the kind of the sky fell on us. The legislature passed what we now call Chapter 135 of the Acts of 2024, and what that was a top-down change. What's the opposite of improvement? To the
de-evolution.
Yeah, a de-evolution.
A de-evolution of rights.
Yeah, and it affected every single aspect of gun ownership across the entire Commonwealth. I mean, from out-of-state hunters to in-state hunters to what the season looked like. And they invented a new term called assault-style firearms. Mm-hmm. Magazine restrictions. Further magazine restrictions, not just like pre-bans. Even if you have pre-bans now, you can't carry them. The only way you can transport them is unloaded in a locked container in the car. And if you have the firearm with you that takes those magazines, that gun also has to be locked away, unloaded.
Even if the magazines are already locked.
Yeah, just simply because the magazines are in the same vehicle as the gun.
I can see the gun, taking on a life of its own, and then trying to get into the lockbox, and then opening it up and jumping, the magazine and having it insert itself into it. So I can see how that's a threat. One of the things that I think I do want to focus on, or at least highlight in this conversation when talking about Massachusetts legislature, Massachusetts executive, and how everything went down. Prior to this Bruin response, which, if you recall, I called it out, about a year before it happened. I was like, hey, this is coming. I did it on Gun Owners Radio with those guys, and we were talking about it right after the annual meeting that year, whatever year it was, 2023 it must have been, right?
Yeah, so the ruling came out in 2022.
So that it was right after your 2023 annual meeting, that April, right? Mm-hmm. And what did they do? There was an interesting thing. There was a tour. Let's talk about the tour.
So I thought you were referring to even before that. So they, when Bruin came out, the legislative session was almost over. So they took a transportation. It was a judicial technology bond bill, and stuffed a bunch of language in that in July when the session was on its last days.
Right.
To do that, but then
that was in 2022.
Yeah, that was in 2022. So in 2023, when they came back into session after the elections, the Speaker of the Massachusetts House, Ron Mariano, out of Quincy, tasked Representative Michael Day, the chair of the House Judiciary Committee of Stoneham, to embark upon a listening tour It was 11 stops throughout the Commonwealth, from Western Mass all the way down to the Cape, and every stop was addressing some issue that's going on and guns. So it was suicide prevention and firearms. Domestic abuse and firearms.
Right, bread making and firearms.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was.
So
I didn't make it to any of these, but I covered some of them, and
me and Charlie hit almost all.
Yeah, you
of them.
hit them all. Yeah, and Charlie, for those of you who are listening, is talking about Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
Yeah, he is a Massachusetts resident. He's one of us.
He's an implant.
Yes, he is, but we welcome him.
Yeah,
we welcome him. He is one of ours.
He's originally from Illinois, so
true.
Just as bad as Massachusetts, just as bad as New Jersey.
It's true.
They've got gun restrictions and corrupt politicians cornered.
Yes.
Which we're talking about right now. So let's continue on. So what was the result of that listening tour? Because I know if we had 11 stops and this guy ran around the state and he talked to people for it was almost a year.
Yeah, it was about a year.
About a year. Hey, what did he concede to you guys? What did he admit? What did he not inflict upon you because of his listening?
So initially, I used to be a legislative aide before I came over here. I worked for Governor Baker for a little while after that. But one of the last legislator I worked for in the building was a freshman, the same time in the same class as Mike Day was. So when you're a new House member, they throw you up in this big room before you get your office assignment, and they call it the bullpen. We shared a table with them, and I got to know him really well. I had a drink with the guy. He thought he was cool.
Sure.
And initially, when he was assigned this task, I was kind of excited. I was like, "Oh, I know this guy. I can talk to him."
Be cool.
So yeah, exactly. So we started. We reached out and we said, "Hey, we know you're tasked with this. We're the experts on the subject. What do you need? We'll talk to you. I'd rather be in the tent pissing out than outside of the tent pissing in." And he accepted it. He said, "Yeah." He's like, "Come on in." So we started having conversations with their office, started giving them information about things, and what firearms owners in Massachusetts are having issues with.
I think I saw this on social media. Right? There's a picture that Michael Day posted.
Oh yeah,
of you guys with. No.
Oh no.
Wait, what was that?
The one of him and Sue Giffords?
Oh, that was
not Sue Giffords.
Yeah, the Giffords
group.
Yeah,
Giffords.
Oh,
Gabby
so wait,
Giffords.
he wasn't posting about hanging out with you guys.
No, never hung
that didn't happen.
Out with us. No,
that didn't happen. Okay.
No,
I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, but immediately upon the cessation of the listening tour, he held an event at the State House, while he was still supposedly doing this impartially, held an event at the State House that was put on by Moms Demand Action, and Gabby, and there's a photo of him standing next to Gabby Giffords, smiling and yucking it up. And so we called him, we're like, "Hey, I thought we were kind of working together." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll talk to anybody." He's like, "I'll do a speech for you guys." And we're like, "No, it's fine, we don't need that." So, they got to the point where they had proposed, they came out with a draft. It was around Columbus Day weekend. They came out with the draft, and we looked at it. It was 152 pages. It was 142 pages affecting 156 sections of law. And it was everything we talked to them about, they threw back in our face and smashed us over the head with it. But we started on a campaign to get a phone call and writing campaign, and we stopped the bill for a little while, and they came back with a redraft, and immediately just started pushing to get it done. So there is, like I described earlier, the majorities in both the House and the Senate are what they are, and separation of powers doctrine. Each branch of government sets the rules by which they operate. And one of the rules in the legislature is that with enough votes, you can suspend the rules. So with the numbers they have, there really are no rules. So as we went along, they suspended the rules 6 times.
It's kind of like taking the clock off the wall and moving.
Yes, absolutely.
The hand.
Yes.
That might have happened in the history of Massachusetts
it
legislation.
Might have. We don't know. Who's to say? So anyways, make a long story even longer. We got to that point, and and they eventually had to go back and take an old. They took another bond bill, hollowed it out, stuffed the new language in it, and made it so that it didn't have to go through the first and second reading process, and it just kind of went straight to a House vote. So they voted on it. It was, what was it, 120 something to 36, and 124 to 36, and it passed. So, then the governor signed it. We immediately embarked on our campaign to repeal the law via referendum. There's a provision in the Constitution where if you get enough votes, or enough signatures, you can suspend the law until the next election. So it's coming up It's coming up on the ballot this November. We blew past that threshold. We got about 100,000 signatures. But there's another provision where if the governor puts an emergency
preamble, right?
Emergency preamble on it.
But it's supposed to be a preamble, so you should be doing this pre to the amble.
Exactly. Yes.
But they've already ambled.
Mm-hmm. They are ambled away.
They handedly ambled, and
yes.
then
she signed it into law in I think it was in August, and it was supposed to go into effect in November, but there was no emergency preamble. But as soon as we got our signatures, the fact that if the governor decides to put one of those on it, the law can no longer be suspended, and it goes into effect immediately.
And that was like was it like 2 weeks before the
it was about 2 weeks before
handed in, or they weren't handed in yet, were they?
We were almost done with it. We were coming up on the threshold.
So you were getting there, and then they saw that it was happening.
Yeah, we had already reached the threshold, and we were already by it, actually.
Right.
And you know how those work. You turn in your signatures as you get them, so you make sure you have them all in place as it gets towards the goal. So she stuck an emergency preamble on there. It went right into effect, and it's still standing right now. But it wasn't an emergency back in August when she signed it initially.
It only became an emergency when you were going to win.
Yeah, exactly, when we were going to win.
This makes me think of George Orwell's, description of his view on the future of humanity. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to kind of butcher the quote, but when Orwell was asked about what he sees as the future of humanity, he said, picture a boot standing on the neck of a person, and that's exactly what we have going on in Massachusetts. Michael, what else do you have going on?
We're on top of all of this going on, we're suing the hell out of the Commonwealth. We have 13 suits going right now. We're working with the Second Amendment Foundation. NRA is signed on to, I think, 4 or 5 of them.
Sure.
So we're just trying to knock out certain pieces of this that are particularly egregious. There's like weird, licensing provisions and stuff. But in the vein, this was kind of the impetus to something that we have going on. So this law treats out-of-state residents who come to the Commonwealth extremely harshly. And as anybody who has ever seen a map knows, New England is quite smushed together. It's 6 states that should probably be 1 or 2. So our borders are really close together, and it's really a patchwork. We have 3 constitutional carry states up there: Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. And we have 3 of the worst states in the country for this stuff: Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And we are constantly seeing folks cross over the borders, and people work in New Hampshire,
snared in some silly stuff there.
Exactly. So. At GRPC this last September, Holly Sullivan from the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, and I and a few other folks started kind of talking about a conversation that had kind of been ongoing for a while, but we decided to really just drive it home and pull the trigger on it. Getting together, getting all of the state organizations from all 6 New England states in a room to discuss this and kind of see what we can do to help each other out, and make sure that our folks do what they can to stay out of jail.
Right.
So that is now the New England Firearms Advocacy Conference, FAC, I don't know what we want to call it.
Right.
But I was going to say, we're partnering up with you guys with CCR-KBA.
Yep. So Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms,
Yes.
which is a group affiliated with the Second Amendment Foundation. So Second Amendment Foundation is a 501c3. CCR-KBA is a 501c4.
Mm-hmm.
So Holly has been talking about this for years, and
Forever.
when you guys kind of just sparked it off a little bit
We
further.
just decided, let's just do it.
Yeah, and it blossomed into this. So the idea is now we're trying to make a model that we could replicate and bring
Yes.
across the country. So we're trying it in New England. It's going to be in
May 30th in Chicopee, Massachusetts,
Chicopee. So
at the Castle.
for those of you who want to travel to Chicopee, if you are so inclined to do so, what is your Bureau of Business pitch to folks that are going to come to that area?
So, do you mean like we have a hotel room block? There's a whole bunch of
And the area, too, there's things to do.
There's a little bit of stuff to do. I mean, it's not too far outside of Boston. I mean, Massachusetts is pretty small anyways.
Right.
It's about an hour to Boston. So if you do come up, it's worth kind of staying over that night and going into the city the next day if you haven't been there.
There's that.
You know, go do the
Agawam's
Freedom-
not too far, too.
Yeah, Agawam's not too far.
So-
But, you know, go do the Freedom Trail in Boston.
Freedom
I mean,
Trail in Boston is
Yeah.
very highly recommended.
It's if you're here for a civil rights conference like this, especially one that's involving the Second Amendment, which is what kind of the impetus for the Second Amendment and the Revolution as a whole kind of
They stole our
kicked
gunpowder.
off. Yeah, I mean that's why it kicked off.
If you go on the Freedom Trail, there's a place where you can get a cold
Cold Sam Adams
across the street from
a
Cold Sam Adams.
Yeah, it's Beantown Pub right next to
Beantown
Suffolk.
Pub.
So it's right next to Suffolk Law School. That's where I went to law school, and
Perfect.
we would just kind of go down the street, and that was the student bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
If people want to get information on that conference, you can go to ccrkba.org/FAC. But Michael, I want you to pitch your stuff. Gun Owners Action League, go.
Yeah, so anywhere you want, if you should really start at goal.org if you want to take a look at it. That is our website. It has all of our contact information for our full-time staff. There are 5 of us currently, so it's our Executive Director Jim Wallace is on the board of the NRA. And if you have any questions about training in general, our guru, John Green, is a master at all things firearms training. He's also our legal expert. Kind of fell into that one, which is funny. Yeah, goal.org. If you're coming to Massachusetts, it might be worthwhile for you to take a look at that and see kind of what all of our interpretations of a lot of the provisions of Chapter 135 are on there. So if you're looking to bring a gun to Massachusetts, if you're coming in for competition shooting or to hunt or something like that, it's a good idea to take a look at our website or give us a call if you have any questions about what you can and cannot do in Massachusetts. Regarding firearms. We also are having an event on June 13th, kind of in tandem with the whole 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We did an event last year celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Shot Heard Around the World, and we're just kind of piggybacking on that, I guess. It's a fundraiser. It's in June. It's June 13th. Yeah, all the information for that's on our website. We're going to have a few pretty good speakers. We have Adam Kraut coming, I think, Ken Edwards, and a few other folks. So that'll be a fun one. Oh, and Cheryl Todd.
Cheryl Todd's
our neighbor
gonna be there
over
too.
here.
Yep,
She's going to be there as well.
So, and also just do a quick plug for the Goal podcast. I think you need to do that, bro.
Yeah, the Goal podcast.
Because those guys are walking around here somewhere, right?
Oh, Garrett and Jeff?
No, they're not here.
No, they're not here.
So go ahead, plug the Goal podcast.
Actually, I mean, we should bring them next year.
They need to be here.
Yeah, they do such a great job, but they have day jobs. I mean, they're volunteers.
I know.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I mean, I think Garrett's an engineer, but anyways, yeah, that's neither here nor there. It's the Goal podcast. You can find it anywhere on where you can find podcasts. I mean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. They have a YouTube channel.
Sure.
But they are. Those guys do a great job. It's our president and vice president, and it's well researched. It's fun.
They do a really good
funny.
job.
They do a great job.
They do a good job.
Really
It's a good podcast. Well, Michael, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Michael from Gun Owners Action League. Head over to goal.org if you want to find out more about what he's up to.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it.